Welcome to tonight's coaching session. We'll be looking at overcoming adversity and surviving tough times. Sometimes I wonder whether the prosperity messages that started saturating the religious space somewhere at around from the 1980s. Sometimes I wonder whether it may have actually done, without knowing it, more harm than good. Because I think that we are not having enough conversations about adversity in the families, in the religious places, in schools. We are not having enough conversations around adversity. So we seem to have a generation that have grown up thinking that adversity, that this is an adversity-free planet. Oh, no. This is not an adversity-free planet. And this is why every child, every man, every woman must be adversity compliant. Because if you do not know how to handle adversity, you are going to have a very difficult life. And the other thing that this has produced is we seem to have a very entitled generation of children, of young people who believe that the universe owes them a lunch. And then they look at you, you're succeeding. They believe it's luck that you never went through any adversity, and they feel entitled to your own money and to your own effort. And then it's just alarming. So I say that people do not have a very healthy relationship with adversity. Yet, in my own life, the only times I've experienced incredible transformation, whether it is in my spirituality, or it's in my marriage, or it's in my finances, the times I've experienced the most transformation came after overcoming anxiety. So tonight, I'm going to change the way you look at adversity forever. You will never look at adversity the same way again. All right, so thank you all for joining. As you join, introduce yourself in the comment section and tell us what country you are joining from. And tell me what expectations you have concerning this topic on adversity. Thank you, Patricia, for sharing. Yes, those of you who have been joining, you know our tradition is to share this because we want to get content like this. Many of you have been following because you have been getting value, and we want to get content like this across the internet. So share with your friends, share with your network, and then comment shared when you have done that. Okay, Muhammad Shakil is joining from Pakistan. Okay, and you want to export t-shirts and all that. Yeah, that's allowed here actually. Tell us what you do, because we would like to connect people, connect businesses with supply chain and businesses with other people. Just make sure that you are very, very genuine as you come to this space. All right, overcoming anxiety and surviving tough times. These are very tough times. Literally every country in the world, every part of the world is going through very difficult times. There are wars in different places. There are economic challenges. There are all kinds of things. Devaluation, and it's affecting there's cost of living crisis in many parts of the world. And individually, people are facing some of the toughest challenges of their lives. Financial strain. For some, it is strained relationships, because sometimes many of these things go together. I understand that in some parts of the world, the biggest cause of relationship strain is money. And so it sometimes follows that when there is a lot of financial strain in the world, relationships also tend to become strained. And then, coupled with overwhelming health concerns, this indeed is it's like a vicious cycle. So you have financial strain, it creates anxiety. That anxiety creates, the financial strain creates strain in the relationship, which creates incredible anxiety, which breaks down your immune system and makes you susceptible to serious health concerns. And so in moments like this, it's very easy for people to feel defeated. I look at comments online and I see that people already feel defeated. People have resigned and given up to fate, and people are living by default. And then they say, "Que sera, sera," which is to me one of the most disempowering beliefs anyone can have. Because adversity is not the end of your story. It's not the end. Like in my own case, I've had so many adversities, but each time it's always the beginning. When I graduated from the university in 1988, I did my National Youth Service, which is a requirement in this part of the world. And after that youth service, I couldn't find a job. It was a very difficult time. And of course, I left the village. I couldn't stay in the village. So I came to the city. And there was no place to stay in the city. The only place I could stay was in a slum, squatting with a couple of traders who came from my village. That was all I could find, squatting in the famous Makoko slum. It was such an experience. Living in a slum is an event. There's always emergency. There's always somebody breaking someone's head with a bottle. There's always there's always a quarrel because a man who lives in the neighborhood molested a 7-year-old girl. All kinds of such stories every single time. Sanitation was horrible. And then even in that room that I was squatting with 6 people, you will wake up and put your leg on the floor and it is moist because the slum is very close to the lagoon. The stench was incredible. And of course, not to talk about the mosquitoes in that place. The mosquitoes were horrible. The mosquitoes, giant mosquitoes, when they put their proboscis on your skin, they would draw like 1 liter of blood. It was blood. It was such a very difficult time of my life. And I was a graduate. And then for 2 years, I couldn't find something to do. And then fast forward a few years after that, this same individual had overcome this adversity, and I found myself working in the best paying companies in the country at the time, working with Shell, then from Shell to Chevron and back to Shell. But just years before that time, I was in the slum. So if I had felt defeated, I would still be living in the slum that I was staying in 1989. What is 1989 from today? This is 2024. So 2024 minus 89. That is 35 years. I would still be in that slum 35 years if I didn't do the things I want to share with you today. So for the next couple of days, we are not going to rush it. We will have the conversation around adversity that people are not talking about. Because my objective in this 1,000 days is to bring crucial conversations you don't find on social media, conversations you don't hear in your families, conversations that the school is not talking about. So we will talk about this thing. And I think that one of the most important skills that anyone could learn is how to handle adversity. Now, so I did some adversity boot camp a couple of months, or was it years ago? And then I asked people, what do you want to get out of it? I sent a little survey out and I got hundreds of responses, but these were 5 recurring themes. Some people just want to gain clarity in the midst of the adversity. They just want to understand what's going on, because adversity can create a lot of confusion. So you can wake up in the middle of adversity. Like when I was squatting in the slum, you just wake up and it's like, where do you go? How long will this thing be? What steps do you take? So I'm sure that you want to gain clarity where you are right now in the world. And some people say, I want to see changes. I'm tired of the status quo. Things have been like this for me in the past 5, 7, 10 years. And then if that's you, as I mentioned it, just type "that's me" in the comment section. If that's you, just type "that's me" in the comment section. So you want to see changes, because things have not changed for you. For the past 2 years, it's been the same adversity. 3 years, 4 years. Adversity in relationship, in finances, in your business, adversity in your health, maybe some prolonged health challenge. And then some other people feel, oh, I want a complete reorientation, because this thing has so confused me, I don't even know my left from my right. Okay? And then some others said, well, in this situation, I need guidance on how to stay strong. Yeah, so I can see that's me in the comment section. Yeah, so I need guidance on how to stay strong in the tough times that we're living in. And then some other people feel, I need help to bounce back from setback in my business. And this was very common among business owners who had experienced setbacks in their businesses. And then some businesses started, they had like 150 employees. Right now, things are so bad that they don't even have up to 10. So they said, we need help to bounce back. So, and I can see that's me in the comment section. Okay, great. All right. So, these sessions we're going to have around adversity over the next couple of days will give you the tools, also provide you the mindset you need to rise above tough times and to take control of your life. That's what we want to do. So I want to give you the tools, and I want to share with you what I also did in the multiple adversities I've had in my life. It's like my life has been one adversity to another. And then I am so grateful, because each time these adversities launch me to higher levels when I deal with them. So we will explore how to turn your current obstacles into opportunities. Okay, so 2 things. And I'd like you to type it, every one of you, in the comment section. Turn obstacles into opportunities. Type that. Turn obstacles into opportunities. That is the key skill that you need during tough times. The key skill is turn obstacles into opportunities. If you can grasp this mindset I just shared with you about turning obstacles into opportunities, you're going to be good. And then, of course, the other competence is to find strength in adversity. Because one of the things that people let adversity do to them, the moment it hits, they become extremely weak. They literally collapse, like noodles that you put in hot water. That's what adversity does to some people's souls. They lose courage. Adversity, if you're the kind of person that once there's adversity, you are like noodles that were put in hot water. Therefore, we want to be able to do 2 things. I want to teach you 2 things. 1, to turn your obstacles into opportunities. And then secondly, to find strength in adversity. When you see me online and you see me talking so powerfully and you see me so cheerful, you assume I don't have adversity, serious ones. But my secret is that I'm able to find strength in adversity. King David said to God, he said, "You are my hiding place. You always fill my heart with songs of deliverance." In fact, he said, "Whenever I'm afraid, I'll trust in you." And then in the famous psalm, his famous Psalm 91 that many of you here know, he says, "I will say of the Lord, you are my refuge, my fortress, my God in whom I trust. At another place, his son Solomon said, "The name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteous run into it and they are safe." So one of the ways, I'm going ahead of myself, but from what Solomon wrote, one of the ways to find strength in adversity is righteousness. Keep your hands clean. Keep your hands clean, because he said the righteous is as bold as lion. And so, even in my adversity, I have no fear, I have no anxiety, because my hands are clean. I didn't do anything that will make the police people come looking for me. And I didn't defraud anybody that will make people start pronouncing curses on me. And I didn't hurt anybody that will make them come to hurt me at night. So I sleep well. And many times we complicate our adversity because we put hands into so many things that we shouldn't put our hands in. And then these things haunt us. And because you are not keeping straight, you don't have the courage of heart to face adversity. Because you can't face adversity with a diseased conscience, with a conscience that is not clear. So that's a very important part of it, and that's one of my secrets. Okay, so for those of you joining us for the first time, I woke up a little close to 2 months ago and asked myself, if I had 1,000 days to live and I had to impart the most valuable lessons to the world, what was I going to teach the world? So I considered my own journey and I came up with 3 key things I would like to drop with the world. And then related to these 3 key things are 3 key objectives, which I'm going to share with you in a moment. So these 3 things based on my own journey, because I've had fantastic career. I have had the career dreams, what people dream of. Okay, I've had it. You work in Shell, and then Chevron comes to poach you from Shell, and then Shell comes back to poach you from Chevron. My goodness, that was fantastic. Fantastic career, remarkable. I've had incredible experience globally, not just traveling the world. I love traveling, but I've worked with the top institution in the world. Stanford University has been rated number 1 in number 1 business school for years, and I had a chance to work with Stanford University through their Stanford Seed program, working hand in hand with the amazing Stanford Graduate School of Business professors. Standing in the same stage with them, teaching, working, helping businesses around 13 to 15 countries. So it's been wonderful. Teaching also many business owners, CEOs, and executives and management staff at the Lagos Business School, and of course China Europe International Business School. So based on all this, and of course one of the things I'm most proud of is raising a godly family. Being in a marriage of 29 years with the most amazing woman that God ever created. That in fact, so I'm just so blessed. So based on all these blessings and experience, the 3 things I want to teach the world are to develop skills and strategies to attain financial independence. Because I don't know how to stress it. If you don't attain financial stability, you will suffer. You will struggle to fulfill your purpose. But again, you see, people people try to do it the wrong way, and they end up getting in more trouble than if they did it the right way. So I'm going to share with you how to become financially independent. What is financial independence? What is success to you? How do you define success? And how do you create a plan to become successful? And then how do you stop not comparing yourself with other people? So that's one subject. And then I want to take the opportunity to also let you know that our financial fitness challenge is coming up very soon. You will soon start seeing messages on my page as to how to participate. Second thing I want to teach the world is how to scale your business into a global chain. And then thirdly, I want to bring back the family, the traditional family values, because lots of people are suffering today because they do not have love in their family. They do not have family support. They do not understand what it means to enjoy peace and harmony with your siblings, to enjoy laughter with your parents, to sit at the dining table peacefully with your siblings, with your parents, with cousins, with aunts and uncles. Many people in this generation do not have that blessing. But I remember growing up, you find sometimes 3-4 generations of people living in that same compound. Grandfather, father, grandmother, and then the children, and then the wives, and everybody. We used to, my uncle had 9 wives and 48 children. Each time I visited them, there's this big bowl that he will share food. Food will be there. Everybody will be eating from the same place. That same place, my uncle, all the children, myself. It was amazing. So I want to bring back those values. But today, I hear about families, brothers that don't talk to each other. And then I met a man who doesn't eat when he goes to visit his brother. He's so suspicious he doesn't eat in their house. He goes to eat outside. This is terrible. How can I be in my brother's house, in my sister's house, and I'll be so scared to eat? But that is terrible, because that's what... So I want to bring back the family. Okay? So those are the 3 things. Is anybody excited about this? Just type in the comment section, excited. So those are the 3 things that we're focusing on. So today, we're looking at overcoming adversity and surviving tough times. Because I see your posts online, I find that many people have no clue. Many people have no clue. And then the moment adversity hits, you see people running helter-skelter and doing all kinds of things and getting involved in all kinds of things that don't work. So, for the next couple of days, 3-4 days, I will be handling this topic. These are the 3 things I would want to focus on. So I'm going to help you to release trauma, fear, and anxiety. Because let me tell you up front, the biggest problem with adversity is the mental exhaustion that anxiety brings. Because you're going to bed, you are so anxious. Oh, baby's food, you just had a baby. And your husband lost his job 2-3 years ago, hasn't been able to get anything. He's been hustling. And then you yourself, you're trying to, bake, do chin-chin or sell things, just to make things work. It's extremely difficult. You're under pressure to pay house rent, which is almost due. And all kinds of things. Your mother in the village has a health condition. If I'm describing you, just say that's me. And then the baby's diapers have finished since. You can't even buy another one. You go to the supermarket, and then diapers are, like what you used to buy a car before. That's what you used to buy, one packet of diapers. Baby's food finished. So, and I'm describing exactly, what people are going through. And so it's difficult, for people to picture themselves not having anxiety in that kind of situation. But that is exactly what I'm going to tell you. Not to have anxiety, because anxiety amplifies the adversity. Oh man, type that in the comment section. Anxiety amplifies the adversity. So if the adversity is, if you rate the adversity, let's say 3, anxiety will multiply it by 10, and then it will show up in your life as 30 instead of 3. Then I'm going to take you through the 3 core mental strengths, because we're talking about, how do you overcome anxiety in tough times. It's impossible to do that without the 3 core mental strengths. So I'm going to talk about those. And then remember, I told you about being able to turn obstacles into opportunity. So I'm also going to give you a blueprint to be able to do that. Does that sound like a fantastic deal? Yes. says, yeah, anxiety amplifies adversity. Yeah, Emmanuel Obono, you're right. Okay, and Lawson says, that's me, that's the situation. All right, okay, good. So let's dive into the main background for today. So the first thing I want to do is actually help you to understand the nature of adversity. See, if you change the way you look at something, that thing changes. The way you look at it changes. And then many times we have problems with adversity because of the way we look at adversity. But by the time I finish with you tonight, you will never see adversity the same way again. I changed the way I looked at adversity, and adversity stopped being adversity. Adversity became a friend. Adversity became something I sort of always looked forward to because it was always affording me the opportunity to grow. Adversity is a growth hormone. Wow, I'm dropping a lot of bombs tonight. Somebody type that. Adversity is a growth hormone. My goodness. Yeah, this is actually this is helping me myself. This is helping me. I didn't plan to say that, it just came out. Adversity is a growth hormone. Adversity is a growth hormone. That's been my experience. Every time adversity comes and then I overcome it, it becomes growth hormone. I add more mental muscles. I add more faith in God. I add more trust and dependence in God. Anytime so my relationships grow, I love deeper. I also come to become more empathetic because when I see people who are going through what I have gone through, I have more empathy. And most of all, I become wiser. I look at your comments, and those of you who have been seeing the comments that people make, there's one word that keeps them coming all the time. Everywhere, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, that word, if you look through the comments, people are making literally everyone says, wisdom, more wisdom, sir. This is wise. Then this evening, somebody was exclaiming on LinkedIn, this is deep. You find that often. This is deep. Oh, this is so wise. Sir, you're very wise. I see it. If you've seen that comment or you made it yourself, confirm. Why? Because adversity. Each time I go through adversity, I become wiser. Adversity taught me the nature of man, human behavior. I can predict how you will treat me. I can predict how people will respond to me when I'm going through adversity because I have gone through many of it and come out. So it makes me very, very wise. All right, so understanding adversity. Now, can you complete this sentence? It's a very, very powerful quote. And it came 2,000 years ago. That was a quote. Something Jesus said that had never been said before. So I will give you 5-10 seconds to see if you've ever heard this thing before. Complete it in the chat, in the comment section. Except a grain of wheat falls into the ground and dies. And then even if you've not heard that quote before, if you've ever done a little bit of farming, or at least read a little bit of farming, I want you to complete it. Complete it. Except a grain of wheat falls into the ground and dies. Yeah! Somebody's got it. Jamda. That's brilliant, okay? Somebody's got it. So it says, except a grain of wheat falls into the ground and dies, it remains alone. But if it dies, it produces much grain. I have just given all of you the key, the explanation for why your life has not been producing. I have just given you the explanation, the spiritual explanation. You do not need to go to Imam. or alpha. You did not need to go to prophet, to pastor, to your daddy G.O. This is the explanation here. If you have been so unproductive, nothing you do works. The way you are this year is the way you were 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 years ago. Do you know why? Because you refuse to die. You refuse to die. So nature teaches us a lot. I did a research when I read this quote. I did a research. This time I didn't use grain of wheat. It was grain of corn. And I found that at an average, 1 grain of corn that you sow in a rich soil brings back at least 2,800 to 3,000 grains with it. That's just amazing. That is simply amazing. And so you can imagine, if corn does that, you can imagine you, a human being, with a spirit, with a soul, with a brain that has trillions of cells. If 1 grain of corn can produce 2,800 to 3,000 grains, you can imagine what you can do. But you see, before the grain, that grain, if it stays there because it's afraid to die, it's afraid of adversity, it's afraid of being put into soil where there is no electricity, it's dark under that soil. There's a lot of uncertainty. And then, above all, it dies. If that grain of corn is afraid to go through that thing, to go under the soil, where there is no light, where there's a lot of humidity and heat and uncertainty because you can't see anything under the soil, you know what? That grain of corn or wheat will stay alone. But the moment it dies, it produces much grain. What is it telling you? For those of you who are averse to adversity, you are always running away from problems. This is why you have not been producing. You have been avoiding problems. Any chance you have to avoid problem, any chance you have to avoid solving a problem, any chance you have to avoid being a volunteer for something, any chance you have not to be selected to be the person who will do something, you take it. And then you are wondering why you are not producing. So what is the implication of this? So the implication is, if you're looking for massive productivity, if you're looking for success and growth in anything you are doing, in your relationship, because many of you, I see your comments on my videos. I talk about marriage and I talk about how I hate divorce. And I see so many hateful comments and so many whatever. You see, do you know why you're having problems in your marriage? You refuse to die. The man refuses to die. Both of you refuse to die. And you want to have your way. Nobody wants to give in to the other person. You will divorce. That's why you love divorce. You can't come into marriage and you keep... It's a game of compromises. You have some things, you have to die in some areas. Every argument you must win. You must win the argument, with your husband. And you are wondering why he comes home and he doesn't talk to you. He just goes somewhere. You must win the argument with your wife. And then both of you refuse to die. You refuse to show patience. You refuse to compromise. That is why you're having problems. So whether it is in relationship or your business, there must be death before there is massive productivity or success. Is this hard? Tell me in the chat. Tell me. Let me give you guys a couple of seconds to answer. Is this hard? Is what I'm saying hard? Okay, I promise I will always tell you guys the truth. So I don't come there. Yeah, Jamda. Yeah, it's a game of compromises. But you see, people refuse to die. They want to have their way. You want to keep your pride. If you want to keep your pride in marriage, you will die. The marriage will crack. And that is why many of you in this generation, you get married 3 months, you already want your way out. Some of you, even 2 weeks, you want your way out. Why? Because you want to keep your pride. I'm the head of the house. I'm the man. It doesn't work. And then I am princess. My father used to treat me. I'm a princess. So you come to your husband and say, you must treat me. Selfishness and pride. How can your marriage survive with pride? You see? But there has to be death of pride. There has to be death of selfishness. There has to be death of self-centeredness. There has to be death of self. And then when you, the wife, you place your husband's needs before your own. But that's not what they teach you in your psychology class and philosophy. And then you, husband, you place your wife's need ahead of your own. That's the way to die. And then when you do that, when you place her needs ahead of yours, that's how to die in marriage. That marriage will do well. But every time it's always me. He's not making me happy. He's not satisfying me. So if he doesn't make me happy, I will leave. Good luck to you. So that quote means, therefore, that your old identity must give way to a new one. That corn must die and then become a new one to get a new result. Remember also the proverb that you cannot pour new wine in old wineskin. So my friend from Pakistan probably understands us better, because that's, in the Middle Eastern culture, I don't know whether it still happens there. They put wine in wineskins. And so if you put new wine in old wineskin, it will tear. So you're trying to get new results from your old identity. You're trying to multiply. You're trying to multiply with your old identity, and it's not working. So new identity, old results. New identity, new result, you have to have a new identity. And how does that new identity come? Through the process of death. And what's the process of death? Adversity. So I'm not talking about physically killing yourself. But adversity is a process of death, because adversity plunges you into the dark. Just like that grain of corn is plunged into the soil, which is dark, and then by the time you're now resurrecting, you come up a new person, new behaviors, new attitudes, new worldview, then you start getting new results. Why? Because you can't solve, some of you who are 40 years old, you can't solve your 40-year-old problem. You're a 40-year-old man now. You can't solve it with your 13-year-old man's brain. And so many of us have arrested development. We are 35, but we were mentally arrested at 10 years. So we still act like 10-year-olds, where daddy must do everything for us, mommy must do everything for us. You don't take initiative. So you still have the brain of a 9-year-old child, even though you are 35 years. Okay? Again, why adversity? Because you can't become rich from a poor person's mindset. My financial success started increasing after I went through, in fact, because investing is a process of death. Investing is a process because it implies delayed gratification. So in a sense, you are dying today because that investment is going to bring 3,000 pieces of grain tomorrow. But you must endure the dying now. You must endure the deprivation. You must endure not having iPhone 17 now and defer it. So deferred gratification, delayed gratification is a form of death. So that in another 5 years, that thing you delayed, in another 5 years, that money you would have used to buy iPhone 17 now, in another 5 years, you can buy 300 iPhone 17s. from what this particular one will do. Is somebody getting this? Is somebody getting this? Okay. Yes, Jamda, thank you. Investing is a process of death. Fantastic. Yeah. Fantastic. So whenever you hear something that's an aha moment for you, put it down there, because that's the one way you own it. Okay. And then if you haven't shared this and you think it is value that we should make more available than all the comedy skits and then all the dirty jokes that people are spreading over there, then share this, right? Share it. Okay. So the last thing today to put it together in summary, you must never look at suffering and adversity in the same way again. Didn't I tell you at the beginning that I'm going to change the way you look at adversity forever? Because if you forget anything, you will never forget that adversity is your growth hormone. So you must change the way you're looking at suffering and adversity now, even during these tough times. Because the truth is, this is the best time to be alive. I tell people, why? Because I have this mindset. The times you are going through a process of adversity right now, worldwide, and death. So some people will come out of it dead, unproductive. But others, like a grain of corn, who go through the process, by the time this current adversity ends globally, they will become something that you can't even recognize again. So you must never look at suffering and adversity in the same way again. Adversity is a growth hormone. If you have not been growing, I can tell you, because you've not been processing the adversities in your life very well. Either you've been avoiding it, or it has made you a bitter person, made you an angry person. You are angry with everything. You are angry with your family. You are angry in the place you work. You are angry with your government, angry with politicians, angry with everything. The adversity has shaped you in a wrong way. So we will continue this conversation tomorrow evening, but I want you to go to bed never looking at your current suffering or adversity in the same way again. But as you go to bed, I want you to get on your knees and then give God thanks for the process He's taking you through. And then give gratitude. Put it down in your journal that you are grateful for the challenges you have right now, because it's making you, it's a growth hormone. It's the growth hormone for your destiny. Oh, it's getting better. Growth hormone for your destiny. So it's the growth hormone that quickens your destiny, that fertilizes your destiny, that makes your destiny come out and shine. So whatever happens, keep showing up. And I'm going to see you at exactly this same time tomorrow evening. And invite other people. Get a chance to tell people. Tell your spouses. Get your children. Make it a family time, because all the programs are very family friendly. Tell people to come and listen to these things, because that's the way that we can transform ourselves and transform our communities. So you all have a very good night.